Have you ever made the experience that you told yourself, okay, once I have X, once I've achieved it, then I will be happy. And then actually like some time later, some months later, some years later, you actually achieved it, you had it, and it wasn't that good anymore. And you like really didn't feel anything different. But then you found a new thing. You told yourself, hey, okay, now for real, if I have this, then I will be happy. And then the cycle repeated again itself again and again and again. This could, for example, also be with money, right? You tell yourself, okay, once I have money, then I will be happy. Or you probably also heard statements before like, okay, money doesn't buy you happiness. Or maybe also stuff like, okay, I don't need money to be happy. I am not that superficial. Or also there are other statements like, oh, if you think money doesn't make you happy, then you don't know where to shop. So I remember in my childhood, I was like always like for a very, very long time concerned and unhappy because we never really had that much money. I associated this lack of money with this unhappiness. We can't afford those stuff. We cannot live in a house or something. We don't have enough money to go on holiday and everybody else is going on holiday, right? Of course, first world problems still, but still problems. In my mind, this was like really real. And I associated this lack of money with problems, with like not good. So for the longest time, I was chasing money. I was like, okay, I want more money, and if I have money, I will be happy. This was my thought. And right now, I have to say, okay, I'm not rich yet or anything. But last month, like in July in 2024, I had my first month where I cracked like 13,000 euros in sales commission in 1 month. It's not like super high income, but it's definitely not bad, right? And I think nobody needs that much money. You can all survive on less. We want to do more for the challenge, right? Okay, once I can get 5,000, I can get 8,000. Once I can get 8,000, I can get 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 at some point. And this for me at least was like a great contrast from, of course, almost having no money as a child, worrying about my finances, not mine, but my parents. And also like in my starting days when I was in Vienna in 2019 and struggling and hustling and chasing my dream, right? Trying to become better as a person. There was a time when I was so broke, I had no money, I was going to like a soup kitchen where homeless people go to get free food, right? And I was going there, I was not homeless, but I had so little money that this was like how I could go there and could afford like more food or better food because it was free. And I remember it's like super smelling. I remember it was in Vienna, Maria-Hilfer-Straße. It's called Die Gruft. If somebody is from Vienna, and the smell was horrible, really. It was the worst. One of the worst smells I can remember. So for me, there was a great contrast from I was no money broke, going to the soup kitchen, eating with homeless people, to, okay, 13,000 a month. So there's a big contrast. And there's maybe some things I can share about this topic of, okay, does money really equals happiness? First, what we have to understand to answer this question, in my opinion, if money brings happiness or equals happiness, is that we have 3 paradigms. This is what I learned from my mentor. First, we have the having paradigm, we have the doing paradigm, and we have the being paradigm. In the having paradigm, what we have is what matters, right? What we have is where we define our self-esteem and our value, and what we have is also the things that we don't have is what we chase, what we need. And in this paradigm, we always want more things, we need more things to feel complete, right? This could, for example, be a house, this could be a car. Okay, I need this car, then I will be valuable, or then I will be happy. It could also be a watch, an iPhone, all those different things. The marketing industry is using this paradigm to trigger exactly this in us, right? We think we need something, we think once we have it, we will be complete, and this is what the marketing industry uses against us, because most people are in this having paradigm. And I'm also in this having, I reflect on myself, in this having paradigm most of the time. Second paradigm is the doing paradigm, right? Here's like the things that we do that matters and the way we define our self-esteem. It's like, okay, am I doing something good in this world? It's not so much, okay, I'm doing stuff to achieve or to receive something, aka having, I need to have this. This is why I go to the job, this is why I'm building my business, because I want to have stuff. But it's the doing, right? We do something just for the sake of doing something good and to do something positive, right? It's a way better paradigm, and it's a way higher paradigm, right? From our emotional self, if you can call it like this. And the third paradigm would be the being paradigm. There's not like, I have to have something, I need to do something. No, it's like, I am enough just for being who I am. This is what is making me enough. There's no need for anything. There's no need to have something. There's no need to do something to feel good. No, I'm good enough because I'm good enough. And in this last paradigm, what I like to think of is often like a Buddhist monk. Because if you ask yourself, okay, how much does a Buddhist monk have? Not much, right? He has like, not cool clothes, he has like some robes. And I think they're not even allowed to have like money. I think they're not allowed to have any belongings. And if you think about it, do these monks seem depressed or unhappy to you? No, right? They seem to be happy, they seem to be content, they seem to be on their journey of spiritual awakening, spiritual journey, right? So probably those monks, that lives somewhere in the mountains, right, with almost no belongings, just some ropes, just enough food to eat, are happier than 90% of the population, right? Maybe 99%. I know the numbers, but I think this will be in this direction. And now if you ask yourself, okay, are you happy or are you content with your life situation? And many people would say, okay, no, I'm not happy. And I often tell myself, okay, I'm not happy because I'm in the having paradigm and I want more, right? And I need more. I often tell myself, okay, I'm not happy, I need more. And maybe you also tell yourself sometimes, hey, you're not happy, you need more. But if you ask yourself further, okay, do you have more than the Buddhist monk? The answer would be yes, but you have probably more than Buddhist monk if you're watching this video. But then the question is, why are they happier even though you have more? This leads to the conclusion that the only constant in this example is like the belongings, like the money. It's not the money that causes the happiness, because the monk is happy and he has less. So it's not so much the money, but it's the paradigm that we are coming from. This would be the first argument. The second argument would be scarcity versus abundance. So what happens often when we are in scarcity in any area, right? But let's take the money example. When we are in scarcity, we often come from a frame where we want to receive, we want to take from others, right? We want to get more things, right? Because we are scarce, we want more things to feel complete, because what we have is not enough. At least that's what we think. And by the way, which paradigm is that? It's the having paradigm. But what often happens is when we are in this paradigm is that we are asking for things, right? And we try to get from other people. And once we get things, in the first moment we feel great. But subconsciously there's like some feeling that we are a leech, right? That we're just taking, we're never giving anything back. Subconsciously we know, okay, that this is not good, being in scarcity and taking all the time. Why do I know this? Because I was that person. You always wanted to take from other people. I never invited anybody, I never gave a tip to anybody, because I wanted to get as much as I can. But subconsciously I felt horrible because of that. What I realized, once we tend to get more into abundance, right? Let's say money, we make more money, we earn more money, we start our business, and the business, after years of grinding, starts to run. We make more money. Then we start to see that there's also joy and happiness in giving to other people. Being the person who invites the other person, being the person who gives the tip. There was a time also in Vienna when I was delivering pizza. Things that made me the most smile is when the people gave me a tip. Now being on the other end and saying, okay, I can be the person that gives the tip, making other people happy. This is also a thing where you can find joy in, that is, like, to some degree, great. It feels great. So as a conclusion here, it's the taking is not as great as the giving. And the giving, by the way, what paradigm is that? The doing paradigm, right? So this is why it feels better by definition, because the paradigm is higher. And this, by the way, would be an argument for money, that money brings happiness. Why? Because with more money, we are in abundance and not in scarcity, and we can get into the next paradigm where we can give, where we can be in the doing paradigm. Not always, right? Because there are some people who have money who never want to give. They still want to take and receive. But it's very, very hard to be in the giving paradigm if there's not that much to give. This is also debatable, right? Because could you only give a tip once you have a lot of money? Once you're in abundance with money? Can you only be giving and share value and not being a leech once you have money, once you're in abundance? Of course not. You can be that, you can do that once you are also in scarcity. But if you're just a giving person, if the paradigm itself is high enough, from my experience, it's more likely. Right? It's more likely that we switch paradigms once there is abundance, because once we have the feeling, okay, I have enough, why not try giving? Why not try out the other paradigm? And then we find the joy in doing it. So the next thing that are maybe obvious, but I also want to state because I realized them once I had like this, let's say, a little bit more abundance in money, right? So first of all, we do not have the downsides of not having money. We don't have the downsides of struggling with money. Life is way more relaxed when you don't have to worry about your bills. Like when all the bills are paid and you still have lots of cash to put aside. It's more relaxed, right? They're not worrying all the time, okay, can I pay the bills? What about next month? Can I have enough to eat? So I think a great metaphor for this is that money is similar to oxygen. If we have enough, we don't really care about air, right? About the next breath that we can take. We don't really care about that because there's enough. But once like the air gets tight, or there's not enough air, like not enough oxygen in the air, it starts to get bigger and bigger of a deal, right? We start to worry about it. And it's the exactly same thing with money, right? Well, if you have enough, we don't really care, like, okay, money is not that important. My bills are paid, I'm living well, doesn't really matter to me. But let's say you can pay your bills. Let's say you don't have enough food to eat. Then money could be something at some point that you can struggle with, that you can worry about, that can affect you negatively, that can also affect your happiness. And of course, with more money, we not only get rid of the downsides of not having money, but of course, we can also get the upsides of having money. For example, what is one upside is definitely autonomy. We're not a bitch anymore of somebody, right? Because we have enough money, we can decide for ourselves. We're not the bitch of our boss anymore, who bosses us around, who treats us like shit, but we have to do it because we're dependent on him. And in studies, they have found out that autonomy can lead to an increase of happiness to up to 50%, right? So this could be an argument for money leads to happiness, like indirectly, right? Because it leads to autonomy, it leads to happiness. The same with freedom in general, right? Because with more money, we can decide where we want to be, when we want to be. Right now, we are in Medellin. Why? Because I want to be in Medellin. So with more money, you can decide where you want to be, right? Maybe I want to be in Latin America right now. Maybe you want to be in China, visit that culture. It also might be a super cool culture. Maybe in North America, maybe Europe, several countries, see everything. You can do that with enough money. You can't do that with not enough money. Okay, but what comes afterwards, right? Let's say you have like the basic needs are fulfilled, enough food, bills are paid, maybe a little bit more than you need, so you're content. You can be where you want to be, when you want to be. What if you then have even more money? Will this lead to more happiness, right? Because let's say money equals happiness, this would mean more money equals more happiness. According to the studies, it says no. And also according to the paradigm, it also says no. Once we have more money, but we are in the having paradigm, we need to have even more money to be more happy. And we always feel the lack, we always feel the lack of contentment, right? Because, okay, I need more and more and more and more. I'm still not happy because once I have this, then I will be happy. But once I have it, there's the next thing I need to have. But on the contrary, also more money doesn't really take away anything of your happiness. So more money will not increase the happiness, but changing the paradigm will. The next point, money is not everything, but it's also not nothing. Because many people like saying, okay, money is not important to me. But at the same time, they're working in like a bullshit job that they hate and they're like doing this for money. And those are probably also the people that if you would say, okay, here are 1,000 euros or 1,000 bucks, would they take it? Of course they would. But why do they take the money if money is not important? If you would give something to me that is not important, I would not need it because it's not important. But those people 100% would take the money. Where does this come from is that this, I don't need money, is often like a quick ego response. Because it's, where does it come from? From what emotion? The emotion is shame, right? They feel ashamed that they don't have money, and shame is like, it comes from the ego, right? The very low emotion, low consciousness. This is an excuse for them to not feel that ashamed anymore, not feel the emotion anymore, not feel bad anymore, and to feel better. Because I'm ashamed that I don't have money, and then I will say, okay, money is not important to me, this is why I don't have money. Not because I never made it in life. I want to have more money, but I didn't make it. Because if they want more money, but they don't have it, this means they are a failure. But if they don't have money and say, it's not important to me, this is why I have no money, they don't need to be ashamed anymore because they never worked hard for it, right? Because they never needed it. That's what they say. But of course, this is bullshit, this is a lie. This is the lie that they tell themselves and that will keep them down. It's never the people with money that say, okay, money is not important to me. It's never that. Always people who have no money. Because a person with money, if money is not important to him, there wouldn't be the need for him to state it, to do the statement, money is not important. He wouldn't do that because there's no need for him. He would just simply quit making money and then enjoying his life with the money he already has. And the reason why it's probably not important to him is because he has enough, because he already is in abundance. Or maybe he's a Buddhist monk and it's not necessary for him. This could also be a reason, of course. Let's end this with a little thought experiment for you. Let's say you can choose, right? You can instantly become a millionaire, but at the same time you are in jail. Will you do that? Or even better, you can be multi-millionaire, but you're alone on a yacht and have 0 friends. Everybody hates you, right? You have no social circle, no friends whatsoever. And all the people that want to spend time with you are people that want to take money from you. Like those are the taking people, like having paradigm. Could you really enjoy that money? Without people in your life, without love, with feeling super lonely? Or even better, let's say you become a multi-billionaire, but you're Warren Buffett and you will probably die in some years. How much worth is that money? So as a conclusion, money has some upsides, of course, but it's not the be-all end-all solution. There are several areas in life that we have to work on, and only one area is the finances, right? But we want to work on all areas. To answer finally the question, okay, does money bring you happiness? I would say money in and of itself doesn't bring happiness. It is the paradigms that we are coming from that it brings the true happiness. But if we are in the having paradigm, then to some degree money can increase the contentness if we are in the wrong paradigm. Well, not the wrong paradigm, I don't want to judge anything. These are just different paradigms. I'm not saying anything is better or worse. It just is how it is. But if we are in this having paradigm, the lower paradigm, more money can increase like the contentness, thereby also the happiness. But only to some degree. And I think this awareness is important, right? Because why we are doing all of this? You're probably a person who's working on himself, who wants to improve as a person, who wants to improve his life, make more money. But what we ultimately want is more happiness, right? So what is important, what we have to remember is that only making the money will not increase the happiness. We have to increase all the areas in our life, right? We have to work on our health, we have to go to the gym, we have to work on the finances also, yes, because it just relaxes us, it makes life easier. But we also have to work on our spiritual side, we have to work on our mindset, on the emotional health, on leveling up the paradigm, ideally, right? Which would be spirituality and emotional health. We have to work on our relationships to not end up like the multi-millionaire on the yard who's lonely. All of those areas are areas that are important and that need to be worked on. And this is why we're doing this, right? We put on in those 10 years to live free for the next 50 years. This is the motto of this channel, right? 10 years of hard work for 50 years of freedom. But we're not only working on one area, we work on all areas for 10 years. So we are set up for the rest of our lives in all of those areas, and we can live a happy and content life. Alright, I appreciate you watched the video until the end. For everybody who's new to the channel, my name is Dennis and I'm building my business in sales right now because I want to live free and travel the world. Right now we are in Medellin, Colombia. Still we are in Medellin, Colombia. And here in this channel I want to document the whole journey, right? The upsides, the downsides, the in-betweens, and the learnings that I make on this journey. So if this is interesting, consider subscribing and then we will see each other maybe in the next video. Thanks for watching, take some action, see you in the next one.